Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Let's Talk with Whitney. We want to further the conversation of loving myself to health. And tonight I got a really, really, really good friend on here, Mr. Michael Cork. He is the owner of McCork Solutions and also the radio personality host of Mike Cork and Friends. You can hear that on the Hallelujah 95.3. I'm sorry, I'm nervous again. Everybody give me a minute. I'm gonna get myself together. Let me get warmed up before I bring my guy in. Anyways, you can hear Mike Cork and Friends on the morning show on Hallelujah 95.3. I'm gonna go ahead and bring him in. Tonight's conversation is going to be about the spiritual fitness, about spiritual fitness. Three components that I feel is very important to loving myself to health is the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect, and the physical aspect. And I want my brother to come on and help me with the spiritual portion of it. So without further ado, here go my guy, Mr. Michael Cork. Hey, hey, hey. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's
There
not
you
my guy.
go.
Here's my guy.
There I am. There I am.
There you go. Hey there.
There I am. What's happening?
Ain't nothing. Thank you for joining me.
Oh man, thanks for having me, man. I'm so excited for you, and I'm excited and proud of you for getting out here and doing what you've been called to do for a long time. So it's long overdue, and you stepping out there. So big bro, proud of you.
I appreciate you so much because listen, without your spirit, this probably wouldn't be happening. And when I say that, I gotta let everybody know.
Let
This
us know.
guy
Let us
came
know.
into my life about 8 years ago, and I had other projects on the table that he was helping me with. When he say McCork Solutions, he have a solution to everything, and that's go get it.
Hey, we at least try.
Yeah, at least try. At
That's
least try.
it. That's it.
So I love that. I love that about him. Sometimes it could be agitating, but what you call yourself? Adjutant of change?
There it is. That's it.
Well,
That's
let's
it. I
get it then.
try to provoke change. That's it.
You do. You do. You do. So let's jump into this. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
What's the importance of having a spiritual regimen?
A
Just a healthy
spiritual.
spiritual regimen.
Well, when I think about regiment, I always think about, just things that we do perpetually and eventually that will come into a natural lifestyle. So a lot of times as we aspire to be spiritually led or spiritually undergirded,
Mhm.
sometimes we have to create certain habits that's going to help us to foster that. And so having a spiritual regimen, whether it's, you wake up and pray, meditation, just setting aside and being deliberate about your spiritual growth,
Mhm.
is what's going to eventually foster that into being a spiritual lifestyle. So with anything that you do, that's going to take, just perpetual, regimen or just continually to do certain things. And so
Mhm.
eventually, it turns into just what you do as you live your day-to-day life.
Okay, and what about when I say regimen, I even mean like how important is it to have good people in your life to push you and all of that stuff? Like how important is that?
It's very important. I mean, you called me an adjutant,
Oh,
and one of the things, to me, that's a compliment,
yeah.
because one of the things I like to do is to try to push people into their destiny. I like to do my part.
Mhm.
On the radio show, me and Lenitra was talking, and we was talking about how, the Bible says iron sharpens iron.
Mhm.
Well, in that sharpening and in that's friction, so it
That's right.
causes heat. And so, in order to get to the next level, there's going to be some heated situations. There's going to be some uncomfortable situations. And so you need people in your life that can see things in you. They can see greater in you, and they're willing to, go that extra mile or tackle the tough moments to make sure that you reach those goals. So having people in your life, that's probably the first part of it.
Right. I agree. Like I said, if it wasn't for you and several other people, you know, I might be out here wilding. Might be a wild girl.
Well, and when you talk about spiritual regimen as well as that, they go hand in hand, because a lot of times when you see something in somebody that you eventually want to aspire to, as you become get around that person or start to spend time with that person, you'll find differences in mindsets, you'll find differences in practices. And so a lot of the things that you may have been attracted to, or a lot of things that entertained you, you'll find slowly but surely they won't fit your life anymore, because it just won't fit where you're trying to go.
Okay. Okay. What are 3 practices that you use to balance your life?
Mm. You know, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm probably not as deliberate as I should be.
Hmm.
But so for me to just rattle off 3, might be a little different. But I know one of the things that I believe in is positive affirmations.
Okay.
Uh, and I'm willing to fight for that. And what I mean by that is I try to keep my space positive. And
Right.
so I only allow a certain amount of negativity to come my way, without being devoid of reality, of course. There are certain things that just happens in life that we just have to deal with.
Hmm.
But for me, the backdrop of my life is that when I look back over my life and I look at the situation I'm in, my good days definitely outweigh my bad days. And so from there, that just kind of undergirds my whole life. So from there, positive affirmations, I got the radio show, so I get
Yes.
a chance to bring people in on the positivity that I've been practicing for years. And then, of course, positive connections. You
Right.
got to have positive connections, and you got to have people in your life that can see something in you and that's willing to get in the fight with you to say, hey, you know what? Despite it all, I still see you can do it. And they
Right.
push you, and they're willing to push you, and they're willing to coddle you when necessary, and they pay attention to what's going on, but also making sure that you don't miss out on what's necessary. And then positive goal setting.
Hmm. Hmm.
I believe in having a target,
Right.
target goal, and continuing to make goals so that you can reach that. And then, being truthful about how you assess your process to
Hmm.
say, hey, right here we made it, or, we came a little short, and figuring it out so that you can still reach the goals.
So, how often do you revisit your goal list per year?
It's not even a per year thing. I probably
Oh,
revisit it daily, to be honest
okay.
with you.
Good. Good. Good.
It's one of those things where we can be delusional if we want to.
Uh huh.
And you hear people do that, and they start moving the needle.
Hmm.
And then what happens is, I mean, me and you talk about this all the time.
Hmm.
Whereas, the goal that you set in January is still the goal in August.
Right.
And so what happens is that we pacify our failures a lot of time. And so what we try to do is try to say that that's not the goal anymore, just to accommodate where we're at, even when we're off, as opposed to just saying, hey, you know what, I got off, let me get back on track. And
So that's
so
funny that,
daily
I'm
I
sorry.
focus on that. Yes.
So it's funny that you say that, because I remember a conversation that we had talking about weight loss when you went back to
Right.
school to finish,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
we said, all right, now we just gonna go to school.
That's it.
and
That's
I
it. That's it. That's
and I
it. But
said to you, well, you still had a win. You never stopped progressing. But
right.
then what did you say to me after that?
I probably said I still got some losses too. I still got things to do.
No, you told me I'm not gonna give you. Well, yeah, a portion of it was that,
Mm-hmm.
but you said I'm not gonna allow myself to say that because I still
Right.
took it off the table when I could
That's
have.
it. I
You
still could
know,
do it. And I think one of the things I talked to you about is multiple births.
yes,
I think that was the word I used, because
yes,
one of the things is that we tend to think that we can only be one trick ponies.
mm-hmm,
When the
hmm,
truth of the matter is, we are equipped to have multiple births. We're equipped to be, successful in our finances as well as our spirituality. We're equipped to that. And so the expectation has to remain that, as opposed to saying, okay, well, I let my fitness goal go because I went back to school. Well,
hmm,
no, 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 you can't do that.
hmm.
And a lot of times we make up excuses just to pacify our own dysfunctions.
Right, right. Let me take a second. If you're just now joining us, I have my friend on here, Michael Cork. We are talking about loving yourself to health, but the spiritual component of it. And he just dropping some jewels on us. So if you are new to the broadcast, that is what we are doing. Um, Ministry. How important is ministry?
How important is ministry? I guess I
Mm-hmm.
guess one would first have to define what ministry is, and in
What
their
is your
own
ministry outside of
terms.
being an adjutant for growth?
um,
I know you're on this Hallelujah morning show. What is that
Yeah,
about? Tell us
you know, I think when it comes to what is my ministry,
about.
that's probably something I've never really even actually thought about, to be honest with you. But since you posed the question, uh, to get in general, I think my ministry is to do whatever my role is, dealing with my gifts and talents to help, you know, further the kingdom. Okay, so that's the political answer. Okay,
Okay.
now
Okay.
what that means. Uh, on a daily basis. Some days I feel like I know what it is more than I do on others, and that has that tends to deal with my connection with God. And I'll be honest, there are days where it's stronger than others. So there are
Mm-hmm.
certain days where, you know, I feel like I'm right there, and so how sometimes you get led by the spirit to do certain things, and in that moment, that clearly was the ministry that you was called to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not for sure what my ministry is. Like when I think of when I think of the morning show, that was something that I would have never even thought I was doing. But I certainly, from the feedback that I get and from some of the response that I get, clearly there's a ministry involved in it. And so just hearing from God and hearing from his agents that he uses
Mm-hmm.
uh to be obedient, I think with that you'll continue to walk in whatever your ministry and calling is.
Okay. Okay.
But I
How
think it's ever evolving is what
right.
I'm saying.
It is. It is. It is. God knows it is. How important is discipline to your journey?
Well, I mean, discipline, you're not going to reach the journey. You're not going to reach the destination without discipline.
Well, I need you to say that again.
Yeah, you'll never reach the destination without discipline. So discipline and consistency is uh is clearly the vehicle that gets you to the destination that you're trying to get to.
Mhm.
Most of the times, a lot of the things that we do that we come up short on, the components that made us come up short was discipline and consistency.
Mhm.
I can literally say, and this is not bragging, this is true. There has never been anything in my life that I have put my mind to it
Mhm.
and I stayed disciplined, focused, and consistent that I didn't accomplish.
Okay.
So that has been the reason for any failure that I've ever had.
Right. Okay. I like it. I like it. So discipline, everybody. I'm learning it. Uh,
Well, we're all learning an aspect. See, that's the thing about our lives. There's certain aspects and certain moments in life where you're going to be stronger in certain aspects than others. And so I can look at, but just like you say, you're learning it. I'm sure if you took time, you can look at certain things where you saw discipline, consistency did help you reach your goals. And
Absolutely.
if we use that momentum of previous successes, that's the momentum that's going to drive us into new challenges. And so
Mhm.
when we reach new challenges, a lot of times we shouldn't get so bogged down and so overwhelmed by them. We should draw back from the previous experiences and take that as momentum as we tackle new challenges.
Okay, okay. And okay, I know that you are a husband and a father. How important is having a spiritual foundation for that portion of your life? Like, why is being grounded in Christ important for you?
Well, being grounded in Christ is important in every aspect of my life because the mere fact that uh the humility of of how I think of myself, I
Hmm.
understand that without God I'm nothing,
Okay,
but with him I'm everything.
that's
And
right.
so when I think about how I'm going to lead my family, how I'm going to lead in the community, how I'm going to present myself, I understand that I need the strength of Christ to do it.
Hmm.
And so I'm okay with that. I mean, I don't even wrestle with that.
Hmm.
That is just one of those things I understand. And so because of that, naturally when I go into, my family structure or how I am as a husband or how I am as a father, there's certain guidelines that structure me to say, okay, this is within the parameters of what is right, and this is in the parameters of what is wrong.
Hmm.
And so because I have that, I can, give true assessments of how I'm doing, as well as understanding where I need to go to get help when I'm not doing right.
Right. I love that. I love that. So with having success in marriage and as a father and in business and on the radio show, because we just reached our first year there.
Reached our first year, man. To
All
God
right,
be the glory for real, man.
congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you so much
Super
for
happy.
that.
Yeah, super happy for you because you built that thing from nothing to something. You and Jesus
Man.
and the friends.
Well, yeah, it was me, Jesus, and what like God does, he put a lot of people in my life that
Right.
helped to make that thing possible. And I think one of the things that makes it work for people
Hmm.
is, the radio show is it's like a real big culmination of the experiences and the relationships that I built over my life.
Hmm.
Because I knew that I couldn't do that show by myself.
Right.
One of the biggest, I even told you when I first had the show, I was trying to figure out a way for you to be my co-host.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I said, oh man, me and Whitney would be great, but for budgetary reasons, different things of that nature, they weren't able to do that. So I just thought about all the people that I knew that had expertise that
Hmm.
could provide something that I figured the audience would want to hear about. And when I made the calls, no one told me no.
Hmm.
There were certain people who it just didn't work out, but they
Hmm.
tried their best to make it work out. And
Right.
so I think, that was one of those things that just kind of showed me, and got to do that to make you realize that, hey, you've built some good relationships throughout your life.
Right.
And it's time to utilize those relationships to create something bigger and to take you to another level, a level that you never even dreamed about.
So one of the things that I will say again, you are so correct by that because I think I told you I'm starting over again. It's not my first
Mhm.
time, but I'm starting over and we're progressing. But the support that I'm getting from different people is overwhelming.
Right,
It's like, dang, okay, they actually want to help.
right.
Cool, and the people that want to be on the show. So I really, really appreciate that. When it's your time to do something, God will make way, and He'll give He'll give people the yes, even when they
Right,
want to say no.
right,
So
right,
it's
right.
like a test right now. Let me see, if you really gonna do this thing. If I call you to do
Right, right. I think a lot of things we realize in life is that we're all connected in a certain way. So there's a lot of people's destiny that's tied to your yes.
it.
So the mere fact that you said yes, that's going to bless other people to be able to do other things. And so, I'm learning to just relax and enjoy the ride.
Get out your own way. Just- God
Yeah.
knows I've been in my way, but
Well,
it's time.
we all are. I'm older than you, so a lot of the things I tell you, there's experience that I've had, and so I've actually walked some roads that I'm trying to prevent you from walking, or
Mhm.
just letting you know at least where the speed bumps are at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I greatly appreciate that. I
Hmm.
greatly, greatly appreciate that. Um, Another question that I have for you is, and I'm gonna kind of like go back to
Okay.
what you were talking about when we were talking about relationships and all that. When do you know that it's okay to let a person go? Like, to leave from your space. And when I say that, I mean, it's just some people that you might have been entertaining before and you might have
Mhm.
been sowing and sowing and sowing into, ain't
Right.
really going nowhere. When are you okay with the release?
Oh man. So I mean, you've heard me say this a billion times. I'm
Uh,
I'm not necessarily the release person as much as I am the reclassification person.
Okay. Okay.
And what I mean by that is I don't know of too many people in my life that um, I probably wouldn't help if they needed help. But
Mm-hmm.
there are definitely people who don't have certain access that other people have.
Mm-hmm.
And your classification can change at any moment, and so your card won't get you to the top floor based off your previous behavior.
Mm-hmm.
uh I think one of the things that I always would stress is making sure you have a goal and vision,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
it helps you make decisions on everything. And so if you keep focused on what your goal is,
Mm-hmm.
everything you do, every person you allow in your life, you can really line them up to say, will they help foster me to reach that goal, or
Mm-hmm.
will they be a hindrance to me reaching the goal. And so when you do that, that makes it a lot easier to make those types of decisions. And you just find that certain people just don't fit where you're going. And if
Right.
you stay focused and you stay driven on where you're going, keeping your eyes, the target in your eyes, a lot of times they'll just fall off naturally as you continue to walk towards where you're going.
Okay. Okay. How
Everybody can't keep up with the pace that it's gonna take you to get there.
it's true. That's
They'll
true.
fall off, a lot of times, now there are certain times you gotta have abrupt endings, that has happened, but for the most part, a lot of times, at least in my life, a lot of times it's it's me being focused on where I'm going. Like even when I went back to school,
Mm-hmm.
when I made the decision to actually go back to school, when I got tired of lying to myself and saying that I was okay with being a dropout,
Mm-hmm.
and said, you know what, I had a goal in mind when I was 18 years old. When I left Indianapolis, I came to Tallahassee, Florida for education. And despite the fact that certain things may have worked in my life, that was not the goal to be a dropout. And so once I made that decision, the pace that it took and the dedication and commitment that it took to be able to accomplish that goal, naturally, certain people just didn't fit anymore.
Right.
Never had a falling out, no, nothing like that. They just did not fit. And a lot of times, by the grace of God, a lot of them just understood it or just naturally happened, just
Mm-hmm.
organically. People just fell off. When I started doing my business and, I got so focused on that and focused on what I wanted to do, there were certain things I was not doing. It just didn't fit. So I wasn't going to the club like I used to. I wasn't hanging out like I used to. So those that were still in that, they naturally just let me go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think again, a lot of your decisions can be made as long as you stay focused.
Right. I want to stop and acknowledge Miss Marilyn B. Smith. Thank you for joining us tonight. She
Oh,
says
Miss
so
Marilyn.
true.
Okay, yeah, that's Lenitra's mama.
Oh, hey, Miss Bennett.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So look, thank you for your contribution with Miss Lenitra and
Right. We cut up on the morning show every day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for your contribution
But
to the
that's
life of both of
but
those
see,
beautiful
like,
girls.
yeah, that's another situation, like even when I had the radio show, that was a person that I was able to call, and despite, her celebrity status and being on, being an anchor on the news based off our relationship, she lended her talents to the show. And so it was all those types of just people willing to collaborate that just was overwhelmingly humbling to me, and so I think, most of the people who get blessed by the show, it's the culmination of a life's work.
Right, right. I love that. I love that. Miss Nicole. Hey, Nicole.
Hey, what's up,
Florida
Nicole
Classic
Everett? Yes,
Friday, y'all. You see we representing. I see Mr.
right,
Brown
right,
got his
right.
shirt on.
Oh,
Uh
definitely. I'm here. I'm here for the game. So we definitely
you
about to do
ready?
it.
You ready to get loose?
Yeah, we're
Go
gonna
ahead
bring
and
back a victory.
fam.
Yes. I'm
Oh,
old now, so I gotta rest up on Friday. I can't do Friday and Saturday. So I'm here with a
one of the
conversation with Whitney. Talking about spiritual fitness.
other.
Yeah, like
Appreciate it. I
things can change, buddy. Things can change. There was a
you know,
time now.
God knows in the heartbeat. Hey, Sherelle, how are you?
Yes, yes.
She said there's a different season for everything, including relationships.
Exactly,
And,
exactly.
and
And
that is true.
you better be mindful when it's fall and time for people to fall off.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I struggle with that though. And you know that I used to talk to you about that. Well, I still talk to you about different relationships that I would hold so tight. A lot of my issues were I would forgive situations, but
Mhm,
we talked about boundaries. My feelings would be
mhm.
hurt. So I say I created boundaries, but the boundaries weren't there. Because as soon as we make up, it's like you get the same opportunity to do whatever it was that aggravated me the first time. So
Right.
so talk
Well,
about
like when you talk about, relationships and this thing, that nature, like most people don't make a change or be based off of how somebody treated them. They don't make a change because somebody treated them bad. generally you make a change because one, you want better.
Right.
You want better. Two is that you believe that better is a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You believe that there's something out there that's better. And then three, it happens when you believe that you are still a candidate for it. And
Right.
so until those three things align, you're never going to make a change based off the fact that somebody just treated you bad.
Well, honey, they have a line, honey, because I'm all
There it
right
is.
with
There it
being
is.
over there and
There
me
it is.
being over here. Do your
There it
thing.
is.
I feel like
There
I'm
it
a
is.
blessing, honey.
That's it. That's it. That's
I
it.
like to have fun, and if we ain't doing that, that's not okay. So
Mhm.
Lenitra just popped in, and yes, we are representing FAMU. How you doing, Lenitra?
Yes,
You
yes.
down there at the classic?
We definitely representing the Rattlers. The Rattlers about to do that thing.
That's right.
I pray.
Hey, let's go, Rattlers. Let's go. Y'all get out there. Y'all got your pom poms?
No, I'm not a pom guy.
You ain't got the pom pom. Hey, y'all got your pom poms. Let's go, Rattlers.
Yeah,
I need y'all to come back horse.
there it is. There it is. I can't
I
do that.
like,
I got to do the show.
yeah, well, not you. Save yours.
Me, Lenita, nor Nicole. All of us, we need our voices now.
Pre-record. Do something, drink a lot of water. Get your life right. But let's go Rattlers.
There it is.
So, my next thing is, what is the value? Well, let me ask you, how important is you to your loving yourself to health?
How important?
How important are you to your own journey of loving yourself to health? Like, when should you just say, and because life happens so fast, and that's
right.
it probably sounds like a crazy question, but life happens fast, and we play so many different roles. I'm wife, I'm mother, I'm friend, I'm co-worker, I'm all kind of, I wear so many different hats that you get lost in any one of those roles. So like, how important is it to take care of you in life, period? Because
okay, so what I would say is think about every aspect of your life. From having a child to getting married to going to school to going to work. Now, in every one of those aspects, there are many people who played a part in that, right? So different people play different roles, but in every one of those aspects, there's one common person in there. So nothing happens without you.
Yeah.
And so naturally, that's got to be the foundational, factor to everything that you do. So you have to be able to take care of you and create a healthy balance. One of the things you got to do in order to make good decisions is make sure you're in a place of understanding what a good decision is.
Right.
And so, we basically make decisions based off of where we're at in our lives. And so if we're in a dysfunctional mindset or we're in a dysfunctional place, a lot of times that's going to breed out a dysfunctional decision.
Yeah.
And so making sure that we build ourselves up mentally, physically, emotionally, so that we can make sound decisions and we can stay abreast of, different things in life and how things are going. And so that we are relevant and making relevant decisions and all those types of things. It has everything to do with what we put into ourselves.
Right. Right. And I see you done stop putting a lot of stuff into you because you didn't started losing a lot of weight. You look healthy. Sherelle, you've been fixing this man some good meals or whatever. He look healthy. I know.
That's ever since I became probably about 35 years old. So that's always been that's a battle, and it's a daily battle that I have to deal with. And, I really came to the conclusion that at this moment, I don't have any high blood pressure. I'm not diabetic, but my lifestyle was lending me to definitely go that route. And so I figured, since I've been operating on the side of grace and God's been extending grace to me in that, it's time to honor it and trying to do what's right. And so let me tell you, certain days are better than others. But one of the things I'm realizing is that it's a daily thing. And so even if you get off, just like anything in life, just get right back on.
Miss Sherelle Cork, your wife said balance in life is the key to a successful you.
It's the key. It's the key.
It is definitely the key. Miss Smith said she didn't learn that until she retired. I'm assuming that means how to take care of you. When is it okay to just say no? So no it was a word that was hard for me. When a person asked me something, I felt like I needed to do it because they asked me to do it.
It's not only just okay to say no, but it becomes a requirement to say no if it don't line up with where you want to go. Again, you got to be mindful of what your destiny is, keeping your goals in front of you. So if it don't line up, no is the appropriate answer. So it's not just okay, it's required.
Okay, I like that. So no is okay and required for whatever I see fit, my goals and my purpose in life. So if somebody here know, y'all don't take it personal, but it is personal. So
Well,
we gonna
yes,
like
some people gonna get it, some people not.
yeah.
Because everybody's not hearing what you're hearing.
Right.
And so because of that, they may not understand it. The Bible talks about there's a time where light and dark will separate,
Right.
but darkness will comprehend it not. So there's going to be people who just not going to understand the enlightenment that happens in your life. And the more that you understand that, the more that you're comfortable with that. That's just what it is. And hopefully on down the journey, they'll be enlightened to be able to, better understand it. But either way, you have a mandate to accomplish that which you've been charged to accomplish.
Yes, I love it. Do you have any final remarks for our good people?
Well, I mean, my final remarks would be what it always is. I'm super proud of you. I see that smile and that glow in you, and I can tell that you are doing what you've been called to do. Of course, I'm always gonna have your back, and I think you've learned over the year what my version of having your back is. It don't mean I'm gonna rub your back all the time. I might be pushing you in the back. That's only because
down the hill if it's necessary, but I appreciate it.
But that's only because I can see something for you, and and most of the times you've already even told me what you see. And so I'm just not going to let you just settle for mediocrity because I know that's not what's on you.
Right.
So if I'm a brother, I got to push you.
You're definitely a brother. You definitely a brother. You definitely push.
Right. And don't get me wrong, it's not a one-sided thing. I mean, you've encouraged me plenty of times. You said words to me that I needed to hear in times. And so I definitely appreciate you. So, it's definitely a balanced relationship. I think you give me, the nod of seniority because I'm older than you and everything, but I definitely don't want you to, take for granted the call that's on your life and the talents and gift that's on your life, and that you have a spirit that definitely changes a room, and there's no reason for you to dim that spirit. And so, greater is on you, and walk in it and just be the Whitley Donnell that I know.
All right. I really, really appreciate you. Now, this show did not run. Thank you, Sherelle. Thank you so much. And we're going to get you right on here, too. I know, we was kind of battling with the same thing, but, we're going to jump on out here.
Yes. And I mean, that's one of the things, even you reaching out to me, because one of the things, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, spiritual fitness. I don't know anybody who would probably, choose me to talk on that subject. But, I'm in a season now.
I don't know why not.
Yeah, I'm in a season now of yes.
Yes.
Especially when there's people in my life that I know mean well by me, and I know that God put in my life. And so I'm learning to not question what they may see in me. So that's why I never asked you to change the subject or anything of that nature, because I wanted to get on here and kind of just see what God would do through me, and what the words he had for me to say to the people. And so I humbly accepted, and I'm grateful that you asked me to do this.
Well, again, let me say this to you. Spiritual fitness, for me, it fit this relationship because everything that we have talked about and have done, you have pushed me spiritually. I remember, walking in the park, talking about stuff that I had going on in life, and you saying, your spirit might be in trouble. You might be in trouble, and you need to get here as fast as possible. And we made that turn. Like, it's not just a a friendship. It's like you care about my life or whatever, in a different way, my spirit, my all of that. So when I say brother, when I say friend, that means something to me because my life has blossomed since you have been.
Awesome.
McCork Solutions. You
Well, man, I
provide
tell you,
the solution.
it's not rhetoric, it's not cliche when I say to God be the glory, because, it's one of those things where you never know how you impact people's lives, and you just try to be obedient. You just say stuff sincerely to a person. You try to just be encouraging to people, and sometimes God will use you to really push people. So I'm humbled by it. I'm grateful that I've been able to say something that has impacted your life. And once again, like I said, I'm thankful for you being in my life. Your family and everybody. It's very you become very important to me, and so there you go, Nicole. Reach up, reach up.
Reach up.
That's my slogan. That's reach up, and even in that, I don't know if I've ever told you how I came up with that. When I first I bought my first digital camera, no aspiration of being a photographer, it was just a consumer camera. Digital cameras were coming out. I took a picture of my hand. That was the first picture I ever took, and I had my hand up, and you could see in the background clouds and the sun peeking out, and it just kind of showed in the backdrop the awesomeness of God and the things that He's created that no man can take claim for. And so from there, I just started realizing that people were calling me to do things that I had no formal training on. I'd never taken a marketing class. I'd never taken a graphic design class, but I was starting to become well known as well as becoming successful in something that no other man could take claim for teaching me. And so because of that, I did have the sense enough to know that I clearly had a gift from God. And so I said, you know what? If He's equipped me with this, if I keep reaching up to Him for solutions, He'll continue to perpetually give them to me. And so that's been my slogan. That's the backdrop to my slogan. So in everything I do, anything that I've been successful in, it's been clear where the success has come from. And so, I don't even wrestle with that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, I bet everybody in this that's watching right now that know you can give a positive quote about your presence in their life. Like everybody, I don't think they might have.
So one of the things that people talk about me is that, like, I generally, they'll say Mike always got something positive to say, like even if somebody's talking about saying Mike always got a perspective, and so where that comes from is is first of all, even when in mid conversation, if I'm having a conversation with you and we have somebody, and let's say we're talking about something somebody did that's negative, God will always quickly remind me of how it's only been by His grace that I may not have gotten caught up in a certain situation or different things of that nature. And so
Lord,
the humanity of the person becomes relevant to me then. And so, that's where it comes. And so I tell Nicole Everett this all the time. I say, I believe that there's a grace bank that I like to make deposits in, to this grace bank. And so that if ever I find myself in a fall and I need to withdraw from this grace bank, I feel as though I've added to it by extending grace to others. And so, I think everybody wants grace when it's their time, but a lot of times we got to be mindful and intentional of extending it as well. And so that's where that comes from. God will quicken me quick, when it comes to being too negative on a person, and always flash that humanity in my face.
Let me go ahead and say I learned that through you, because oh my God, some conversations could have been crazy, and you always say, no, it could have been any one of us.
It could have been any one of us, like a lot of times if we call to remembrance, the times in which we was in a fall, we'll understand that God's hand's been on our lives. And so a lot of times, when you see another person that fall, it's not that you were so great. It's just the grace, covered you. And so, there comes a time where you might come to the end of your grace. And so a lot of times, the very thing that another person needs, you have the ability to give to them. And so
Mhm.
that the time when you're in need of it, again, for me, I feel as though, I've made some deposits. And
Mhm.
so when it's time for me to make a withdrawal, I feel better about it.
So one thing I'm gonna say is just what I said. I don't know a person that know you that won't give something beautiful about your presence in their life.
Yeah.
So Miss
I
Marilyn said, "Preach, my son." Go ahead, Deke.
Yeah, there's always a perspective. Most of the time when people complain and they tell me a complaint, one of the backdrops of their complaint is that they tend to have taken an offense to something.
Okay,
And
let's
so a
talk
lot of
about
times I'll tell them, okay, well, what if that person didn't mean the offense? Like clearly you come up with something in your mind.
it.
I'm
Mhm.
not saying that you're wrong,
Mhm.
but what if you just thought about that person didn't mean to do it? Would that change your whole perspective on how that happened? And then I say, what does it gain you to
Mhm.
be mad?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you move on better if you just decide, maybe they didn't mean
So that's one of the things that I had to learn, a practice that I started using was when something fall in my mind and it don't align with me feeling good is how long do I want to be in this position of feel
it.
what
Right.
I'm feeling? Does this actually work for the better portion of my life, or do
Right.
I dwell in this space that just don't serve me?
You
So,
know,
mhm,
quietly as kept, a lot of people, in my opinion,
mhm.
feel themselves to be more important in people's lives than they really are.
Of course we do.
So, like for me, I literally, I do not, I honestly, I don't believe that there's anybody that I know of
Mhm,
that wakes up in the morning that says, "Let
mm.
me see how I can mess up Mike's day."
Right.
Now, I do believe that there are times where we have different goals and aspirations, and there may be junctures in a life where they collide.
Mhm,
And then in that collision, everybody's going for themselves. So,
mhm,
and so sometimes you can take just that aspect and that moment
mhm,
and deal with that moment as
mhm,
opposed to casting it out throughout the whole relationship.
mhm.
And so one of the things like Sherelle to tell you, uh that we decided when we first got married, I told her, I said, one of the things that I'm always going to do, even when we have moments of collision where things don't work, I'm always going to give her the benefit of saying to myself, I know she doesn't mean any harm by
Right.
me.
Right.
And so if I always think that way, it gives me the right mindset and the right temperament to be able to deal with a problem, as opposed to feeling as though she might mean harm by me. if
And
I
I
if I
love that because she just said that's one of the keys to your successful marriage is not taking things in offense. Nicole said that's a word. Don't be so quick to be offended.
Right.
Um, Jamil said being positive is a choice,
It's
and
a
again,
choice.
that's something
It's a choice.
that
It's a choice, but you have to create. This goes back to regimen and ritual. You have to create a space to where you're able to make that choice. A
mhm,
lot of times there's certain choices that if we don't, equip ourselves with the right tools, you can't make the right choice. And
right,
so,
right,
so we're constantly feeding ourselves negativity. We're around people that um, feel as though negative is good, and they're feeding that into us, and we constantly listen to different things, and that's how we rationalize things. That's what's going to come out of us.
right,
But
right,
but the same thing is if you feed yourself positivity, you feed yourself with solutions, you feed yourself with possibilities and greatness, and always thinking of you know great turnouts, that's what you're going to actually achieve. So the person who says they can and the person who says they can't, they both are right, and both of them
right.
probably will manifest that which they think.
Right. So this is a good time to introduce forgiveness. What does it mean to forgive?
Oh man, it doesn't necessarily mean forget. I can tell you that. It definitely, but I think one of the things for me when it comes to forgiveness, again, that draws me back to a humility state. And
Mhm.
at least for me, when it comes to forgiveness, it's about, okay, what is the mindset that I need to take on to be able to live my positive and fulfilled life?
I love it.
And so, so whatever that means, that's what forgiveness is for me. Being able to forgive myself of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I realize is that a lot of times in most situations where forgiveness is not given, you're
Mm-hmm.
also keeping yourself tied to that situation, which means you are carrying a certain amount of guilt for even having yourself involved in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
which means, you haven't even released yourself. And so in order to release yourself, a lot of times it's tied to the person that you don't forgive. And so loving yourself enough to be able to say, okay, I got other things I need to do. So just for that sake alone, let me forgive this person.
Okay.
And
What if?
you got to work through that forgiveness, because forgiveness has to be tested. It's easy for me to say I forgive a person that I don't see every day.
Yeah.
But then when I see them, you might find yourself having some stares, anxieties, and different things of that nature that you got to deal with. Just like any type of deliverance, it has to be tested.
Right. Right. Excuse me.
I done got you coughing. Look at that.
Just the spit. See how things
Yeah,
manifest and just come on through
that's right.
the.
Soon
But
we got on the air, I started coughing. I'm like,
no,
yeah,
when I brought up forgiveness, I started coughing because
I see.
I'm working on that right now. The
It's
Lord
okay.
is yet delivering me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough thing,
Mhm.
but
And for everybody that's listening, I'm always very honest about where I am in my space, only because I feel like a lot of people are there, and I feel like the people that we have on,
right.
and the conversations that we're having, can be a space to grow into a place of deliverance. So, I'm gonna be honest. There's some friends, some family members, we're yet working through a thing. We
Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the spirit of forgiveness is a commitment to work through a thing.
hmm hmm
I think you're delusional if you think, you forgive somebody and there's not no work involved in it. So I think, to commit to say I want to forgive somebody is also saying that, okay, we're willing to work some things out, find out what space in each other's lives is appropriate, that we'll be able to be functional. So, unforgiveness has never been beneficial to me.
hmm hmm
It's never rendered me anything good.
Right, that's true. So being true to okay, so I heard somebody say, tell yourself the truth, even if you got a lot of other people. Be honest with yourself about where you're at in your life.
Mhm.
Is that something that's true for you?
Yeah, I don't even know how you lie to yourself, to be honest with you. I mean, you lie to people,
Some people are
but what
different.
happens in the midnight hour, in those lonely moments, the truth illuminates,
hmm
especially when there's some deficiency.
hmm
Now, I think sometimes we're not truthful about some of our accomplishments,
hmm hmm
but I think when we're alone, we deal with the truth all the time, and that's what causes different anxiety and depressions and different things of that nature. But one of the things I think has to be done with when you come to that realization of what truth is, even in the areas where you're deficient and you're not meeting the mark, being solution driven and
Okay.
understanding that, okay, with a plan, consistency, and discipline, we can get on the mark. So I like I like going to the gym. Well, I don't like going to the gym. Let me say
Don't
that.
that truth.
But but one of
When
the
I
things I
get
do like, one of the things I do, I love seeing people who go to the gym
there.
and that are and you see they're physically fit and you see their bodies it shows that they go to the gym.
hmm
And so reason why I like that is because that is actually the model to almost any goal for me.
hmm
Because especially, if you meet somebody and you see their start and then you see their progression and you see where they're at, one of the things that I'm always able to say is like, okay, the only difference between them and me was commitment, dedication, and consistency. And so, as opposed to making me jealous or discouraged, it encourages me
hmm
because it lets me know that I can jump in the race with any goal that I have, and
hmm
with commitment, dedication, and consistency, I
hmm
can accomplish that goal as well.
Right. I like that. I like that. And that's just true across the board for me as well. I don't know about with the looking at it in terms of fitness, but
Well, it's with anything,
anything.
whether it's fitness, whether it's, I've been known to say it's go season. So
Hmm.
a friend of mine says she loves when I say that. I always say that a lot of people get stuck in ready set and they never go.
Hmm.
They're always preparing for something. They always are doing the research for something. They're always doing this, but they never actually go. And
Hmm.
so, once at some point in time, you gotta shoot the gun and you got to jump out the blocks and you have to go. And so a lot of times what I've learned in my life is that start can be something that has to be repeated,
Right.
because
Right.
a lot of times we jumped out the race for various reasons, but we got to understand that we can still jump back in the race and start again. And every time I've started, every time I've done something, that's where I've seen my vision that comes through. That's where I've seen resources open up for me. It doesn't necessarily open up as much when I'm just preparing. It
Right.
opens up for me when I go.
And I could attest to that because even with doing Let's Talk with Whitney all over again, I think about a couple months ago, I said, I'm gonna start this on my birthday. And I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, birthday rolled around, but I didn't like the way, my photos and all that stuff look. And I was
Hmm.
like, no, let me do it right. I know if I do this thing the way I want to do it, which is it gotta look a certain way and all of that stuff.
Hmm.
Do my photo shoot, I start setting up my stuff, I get excited and I
Right.
produce something different. I
Right.
produce from a different
And
space.
And if you remember when you told me you was pushing the date, I said, I'm not gonna bug you as long as I see you still moving.
Yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
I'm gonna let you slide that date. But I was like, I need to see stuff happening. And so that's when you kept pushing, you kept posting, you kept gearing it up. And that's what you want to see. You want to see stuff steady moving, because it's always a reason to do something. There's always a reason not to do it. It's just what decision you make.
Right, right, right. So that was and again, watching my brother do this show, the Hallelujah Morning Show, Mike Cork and Friends Morning Show, watching the consistency, watching the dedication that you put into it, and again, that waking up and that drive and like just the whole energy of the show is beautiful. It's
Right.
like it was motivational, it was inspirational. I was like, let me jump on here and do this. Let me stop giving myself excuses as to why I shouldn't or dwelling on whatever happened in my past, and just do it, So
Right.
you can birth the thing now, so we got to run.
You gotta run with it. You gotta
Go.
run with it. And since you've done it, now you're gonna find different resources. You're gonna find people that are willing to help, people who've done it, and so that's gonna happen now that you're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
open up doors that talking about it would have never opened up.
Right, right, right. So we had to get out of the planning stage. We had to
You gotta
get out of
get
the
out of that. You gotta
stage.
get out of it.
That I
You know,
think
I'm
this
I'm
is
not
the
I'm not
shortest.
against planning, but I do believe a lot of people make an excuse for not doing the thing by saying that they're in the planning stage. And I know people who've been working on a business plan about 5 years,
Whew.
and they never started the business, and so at some point you gotta go, man. You gotta
Mhm.
go.
I think this is the shortest time that I've spent planning anything and then
Oh
just
yeah, you did it. Yeah, you
start.
did it, man. I was
Uh,
proud of you.
that start was major for me. Like, okay, Whitney, just do
Right,
it in
right.
spite of everything. Just do it. So
Well,
again,
one thing me and you talk about all the time is that everything I've seen you do, you've had success at,
yeah.
and it's just a matter of maintaining the momentum, you know,
So one of the problems that I had was my problem was the perspective that I had about the success.
what
Yeah,
success is,
what
right,
success is and what it
right,
looks
right,
like.
right, right,
That was my issue. But
right.
now I'm looking at the production of many different things, and I'm seeing, okay, if you just go and stay the course, you'll be okay. It's okay to make some mistakes. It's
It
okay
is,
to have
it
some
is,
bumps, but just
it
keep going.
is. Right, right.
You
Right.
know, there are different seasons in life. Every day you're not gonna be in the same season, so it's okay, just remain, keep going, you
Right.
know,
And
change.
with everything, you're gonna get better.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
That's right.
I was able to post the first time I was on the air to a year later.
Mhm,
And,
mhm.
the first time, the song I called, that wasn't the name of the song. Uh, I was forgetting the name of the station. It was a whole lot of things, but I never would have gotten to where I am now had I not had a first.
Right, right, and I
So I,
love that,
I
I
look
love
to,
that.
next year I expect it to be even better.
That's right, it gotta grow.
It's got to grow,
It
and
has
that was the struggle for me because I'm a person who I don't like to showcase my process.
Okay.
So like I'm a reveal guy. I like to reveal. So I don't even, I don't even like to tell people what I'm working on.
Mhm, mhm,
I like to just voila, here it is, and so this was one of those things where I was gonna have to struggle through something in
mhm.
public.
But I think right now that's what's needed. People need
Oh,
to
without a doubt.
understand that the process is the process, that people just don't come into things overnight.
Right.
I think that's what a lot of my generation, the younger generation, is confused about. Let me jump on here and I'm just going to be this immediate success. No, it takes work. So I'm glad that you decided to start and continuing on, and you reached the benchmark. I remember your 100th episode. So now
Right.
you're at the first year. So
First
that's
year, man.
dope.
Yes, yes.
That-
So God is good, man. God is good. So I'm excited about what He has next for me. And like I said, I'm open for it now. So He's put me in situations. There's nothing that I do that I ever probably dreamed about. I mean, even from graphic design to even photography, it was never really like a long goal of mine. It was just situations that happened that God put me in position, and I tried it and fell in love with it. So I still get paid to have fun. I wake up, my job is like I'm just playing all day. So from the radio show to being a content creator and doing marketing strategies and all of that is just fun stuff to me that God has put me in a position where I actually can make it a vocation.
So right now, I need you to tell everybody how they can find you. Because, like I said, if you need a business solution, this your guy. If you need, just some inspiration, this your guy. And if you need Jesus, catch him on Hallelujah. 95.3. Tell the
Hey.
people how to find you.
All right. Well, you can find me on Facebook under Michael Cork or the Hallelujah Morning Show with Mike Cork and Friends page. You can find me on Instagram at McCork. That's MACORK. Or you can find the company at McCork Solutions with an S on the end. Also, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10. You can find me on Hallelujah 95.3 if you're in the local Tallahassee area, or if not, you can download the app.
All right, I like that. I like that. I like that. Let's see if we can get it up there. Um, Another thing, I really, really, really appreciate you, blessing my life and coming on here and blessing the people too. Uh, again, you're a really good friend, and I look forward to everything that we got in store, individually,
Well,
together, everything.
once again, thanks again for having me. Thanks again for calling me friend. And I'm prayerful that I continue to live up to
All right, you will. Hey, hey, you
it.
really going nowhere.
All right, there it is.
All right. Well, everybody have a good night. I thank you guys for joining me on another episode of Let's Talk with Whitney Donnell. I am happy and full, so peace out.
All righty.